Okay, folks, I was looking at Twitter and seeing that Rippaverse Goalposts had posted a clip from my last video about ISOM and great covers, the secrets of great covers. And it posted the clip about ISOM number 2, cover A. It's the cover that's done in a kind of flashback style, where it's asking the question, why did ISOM quit? And it's saying, showing the first appearances of Sidney Bloodruth, Gooding, and Shadron. And then it shows ISOM on the cover fighting Shadron. And what I was pointing out is that from the cover, you don't know that Shadron is the person who ISOM is fighting. All you know is that ISOM is fighting someone. So I actually thought it was some fourth character that Eric July had invented for this book. I didn't know that it was Shadron. So I thought, well, if you're going to put Shadron's name on the cover, you may as well link it up with him being on the cover. And so my suggestion was, instead of doing what they did, they should have instead the box moved to another place higher up saying, introducing the first appearances of Sidney Bloodruth, Gooding, and then in a separate box closer to Shadron saying, the fury of Shadron. So that would identify clearly that Shadron is the one whom ISOM is fighting. We wouldn't be left in the dark about that. Now, I always like to look at the comments under the Rippaverse Goalpost post on Twitter and see if anybody said anything useful about it. And I'll just to kind of gauge how people are feeling about some of my videos and stuff. And, there's the various comments about nitpicking versus valid critiques and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that I see repeatedly, and I swear to God, I don't know if I'm just being trolled at this point, or if people are trying to make a legitimate point and failing utterly, is when they say, oh, well, you just want everything told to you up front, or something like this. You're just looking for someone to hold your hand. He's not going to hold your hand. Okay, let me explain that in the first case, where they're talking about, oh, you just want to be told everything up front. In that case, people are just being dipshits. Just literally being dipshits. That would be as if to say, I came up and asked you your name. And I said, hi, what's your name? And you're like, oh, well, I guess you just want my social security number and my Wi-Fi password and all that kind of stuff too. No, I asked you for your name. If you don't want to give me your name, that's fine. But don't ask like I asked the whole fucking world of you. You're just being a dipshit. And that's what these people are who are saying, oh, well, you just want to hear everything and just see it all on the cover, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I'm just asking for one piece of information. And more importantly, that piece of information is something that has been readily shared elsewhere. And that is what I want to say is the main difference between the idea of holding someone's hand and just being a good communicator. There is a difference. You can be a better communicator to your readers sharing information that you actually want them to know without having to hold their hand. It's not holding their hand if you actually tell them things they want to know. For example, one of the things that I often point out is that Darren Fontano's last name is not in ISOM number 1. Anywhere. Try to look it up. You probably think you saw it somewhere, but you didn't. His last name does not appear. And when I bring that up, people are like, well, you could have gotten that from the website. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to get that from the website. If you're a good communicator and you want your readers to know these things, you should be communicating them in your book. So I point out a specific piece of dialogue where Avery Silman, when he's going to ask the security guards, hey, is Darren around? He should just say, hey, is Darren Fontano around? And that's it. That's all you have to do. And people are acting like that's hand-holding. No, it's hand-holding maybe if I'm asking Eric to reveal information that he doesn't want to reveal. And sometimes there is some information that is pointless to reveal. There are some people out there who are complaining that we don't know what Avery does on his ranch. Like, what does he raise on his ranch? Is he raising beef? Is he raising cattle? Is it goats? I don't know. I don't care. Why would you care? That's one of those people who just want to know everything, just right away. But if you just want to know that the name of the place is Silman Ranch, well, you could. There is a point at which in the box that says on the outskirts of Shadow Valley earlier today or something like that. Why don't you just say Silman Ranch earlier today? And you could say Silman Ranch, Shadow Valley earlier today, something like that. That is information that he communicates later in the book when you go to a later scene in the book and you see Silman Ranch clearly on the ranch, but you don't see it in that first scene. So you've got this kind of idea of, okay, this looks like a ranch somewhere. Where the hell is this? And you don't know. You don't know the location name at that point. You know it's located in the Shadow Valley, but you don't know it's called Silman Ranch. Why not just tell us? I mean, that's just something that we can pick up later in the book, but at the same time, why not give it to us earlier when it actually means something? You know, I mean, you tell us that we're in Florist Park, but you don't tell us that we're in Florist Park, Texas. That's another good question. We hear from the website, and I've also heard in Eric July's live streams and other interviews that there's a fictional town of Florist Park, Texas. Why not tell us that it's Florist Park, Texas on the first page? I mean, is there a point to holding that information back from us, especially when you reveal it in other outlets? And that is the point that I'm trying to make in terms of the difference between hand-holding and being a good communicator through your comic book. If there is information you want your reader to know, it has to be in your book. You can't just leave it on the website and expect people to go read it there. You can't just put it in your document cards and expect people to read it there. Now, Eric July has actually admitted this on one occasion. He says that when Michael Copper and Liliana Rakashi or something like that. I honestly haven't looked up her name because until I actually hear her name in a book, I don't want to freaking know her name. Because it's like, why should I? You haven't told me. Why should I pretend that I know? And he's actually admitted that that was a mistake, that he should have introduced them much the way he introduced Alpha Core and Yaira by putting their names next to them. This is Michael Copper, this is Liliana whoever, and that way we could talk about them intelligently. Same thing, I would think, with the two members of Norfrica. Why aren't their names given in there? I can't remember. They aren't given in there, are they? I don't think they are. So, you know, those are things where if you're not afraid of readers knowing these things, have the book communicate them. Don't have like some document cards on the side that people had to pay $100 for communicate them. Don't have your website communicate them. That's not where that information belongs. The information belongs in your book. And so long as it's information that you are comfortable communicating to the reader, communicate it through the book. It just makes it a better, fuller book. So that is what I'm trying to say is the difference between hand-holding and good communication. For one thing, you know, you're not asking for all the information in the world. You're just asking for all of the information that you've readily given in other locations to be placed in the book right in front of the reader's eyes, so that the reader doesn't have to go to all these different places. You know, this isn't like a treasure hunt. You know, we're not supposed to be going to all these different places to find the information that you want us to know. If you want us to know, put it in the book. And that's basically the difference between hand-holding and good communication. I'm Mike Partika. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe on this video if you thought the information was useful, and I will talk to you later.